so good to have you guys all here. Again, for those who just joined me right now, in case you don't know, I'm going to be going over my ranking of the Marvel Phase 4 TV shows and TV specials, chat. There are 10. I believe there are 10 in which I'm going to rank, chat, from worst to best. Might be controversial how I play some of these, chat, but it's just my opinion. There are plenty of content creators out there, plenty of Marvel fans that would rank them differently, but this is just how I personally feel. This is my level of enjoyment for all these various shows. After that, chat, I'll be playing more Dad of War with Boy. After that, chat, more God of War Ragnarok, which I'm very excited about. And then later on, chat, we'll be playing some Jackbox Party Pack for some multiplayer shenanigans to get your big old butts in there for some fun multiplayer shenanigans. It'll be a good time. But again, in case I miss anybody, an absolute pleasure to have you all here. But now, my friends, I do want to move on to the first part of my stream. And that part, as I said before, is my ranking of the Marvel Phase 4 TV shows and TV specials, chat. Now I believe there are 10 of these shows and specials out there right now. And these are specifically the TV shows and specials that have appeared on Disney Plus, chat. So it's not the Netflix stuff or anything like that. It's just the ones that have come out within Phase 4. And, just to start off by saying, I don't actively, hate any of these shows. There are some I like more than others, but there's not one I would point to and go, this is the worst stinking pile of shit ever. Now, I know a lot of people have been saying that about a lot of things because, it's popular to hate on Marvel right now. Listen, I think it's fair to criticize them in a number of their movies. Believe me, I was doing that yesterday, chat. I was doing that for, things like the Eternals, which I do think is bad, or, things like Black Widow and Shang-Chi. Listen, of course. But I don't actively dislike or hate any of the TV show. I do feel like there are some weaker than others. I feel like they've made some mistakes and they have problems. There's no doubt about that. I don't feel like I hate any of these shows, if you will, chat. I just feel like some are better than others. That's pretty much just how I feel. And we're going to start off very simply, chat. And I'm going to start off with one I feel like a lot of people have kind of forgot even existed or even came out. Even I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch this. I watched this today because I wanted to be fair. I wanted to say, let me include this one. And I don't even hate this show, but I feel like it's just kind of superfluous to the overall MCU saga, if you will. And that is at number 10, chat, I Am Groot, which is, just a whole bunch of shorts featuring Baby Groot doing cute things. And they're cute. They're fun. They're short, but outside of that, that's all they really do. That's it. There's nothing particularly special about it. I feel like, this is entertaining for kids or people that, just like the Baby Groot character from Guardians 2, which is a movie even I'm not the biggest fan of. There's things I like about that film, but I like Baby Groot in it. It's a bit of a gimmick, but it's fine. It exists. It's fine. It's totally okay. It's inoffensive, but it doesn't really add anything, I think, overall to the MCU. There's nothing about that stands out, but it's fine. It's a cute little show. Cute little series of shorts, chat. And that's really all I have to say about it. It's an easy watch. You can do it very quickly. Very, very quickly. I think it's like under an hour, if I believe. Outside of that, chat, I'm kind of moving into the more serious stuff, I would say. At number 9, I have Marvel's What If. Their other, I guess, big animated series. And listen, I think the problem with anthology shows is you're going to have episodes you love, and you're going to have episodes that are either forgettable or you just outright hate. And that's kind of how I would describe Marvel's, What If. I thought there were some great episodes. I really, really enjoyed the Doctor Strange episode with where instead of losing his hands, he lost his heart and he pursued this dark magic. I thought that was really cool. I love the episode that dealt with this all-powerful Ultron. Thought that was great. But then there were some other episodes that I just thought were just fine. They were okay. Like the one that was really hyped, and it's getting a spinoff now. It's the Marvel Zombies episode. I think it's all right. It's okay. The Captain Carter episode, I like the idea of Captain Carter. I love Haley Atwell, chat. She's a talented, beautiful woman, but it was fine. Again, it was a mixed bag of episodes. I love the episode that dealt with the murder of all the Avengers, chat. Like, who's this killer who's been killing all the Avengers? I thought that was really cool. Like, there were some great ones, you know? But there were some average ones, and then there was some ones I completely forgot about, you know? But that's just a problem with all anthology shows. Strong episodes and weak episodes, and this one had some strong episodes and some weak episodes in it, chat. You know, I'm excited for season 2. I want to see them continue on. I want to see them potentially do, like, more spin-offs. I think that'd be fun. Other than just Marvel Zombies. So I feel like some of these versions of incarnations of characters, they deserve that. Like, I love the stuff, like the whole Ultron when they brought them all together. I thought that was really fun. When they brought them all together to fight against this all-powerful Ultron who had all the Infinity Stones, like, oh, this is really cool. Well, it was the Guardians of the Multiverse. I like that. I like that quite a bit. You know, also, I think that the show was hurt because of the pandemic. It was supposed to be 10 episodes. They only did 9, and they cut one of the episodes that was focusing on Gamora. It's going to be a part of season 2, and so it's like, okay, you know, it's not fair to that, obviously, but, I mean, still fun. Still a fun show, but strong episodes, weak episodes, and kind of middling episodes, Jeff. And moving on from Marvel's What If, we have Miss Marvel. And listen, I really like the Miss Marvel character, Kamala Khan. To me, alongside Miles Morales, I feel like is they are some of the best characters Marvel has made, you know, within the last, you know, decade or so. I think it's plus I just think it's cool that we have like a Pakistani, you know, superhero. I think that's interesting. And the thing about this series that I liked is I loved everything. I thought the actress did a great job. I love the supporting cast. I love the whole family dynamic, and I don't mean this I'm not being sarcastic or facetious by saying this, but it kind of felt like I was watching like a live-action Disney show. It felt like something like Boy Meets World. Those are the aspects that were the strongest. I thought that was really good. My problem with the series is a lot of the superhero stuff. I don't think that worked very well. Who are the villains again? Does anyone remember the villains? The guys from the other dimension? I don't know. I don't know who they were. I was like, huh? Okay. And then they kind of did away with them. I felt like if they just kind of leaned into like Damage Control being the villain of the series, that would have made more sense. Because I couldn't even tell you who the villains were. And even by that point, by the time we got to like not even the penultimate episode, the one before the penultimate episode, they already dealt with them. And they were it's just kind of messy. You know, when it came to the superhero stuff. But I feel like the family stuff, the things with the friends, I loved her relationship with Peter Parker, not Peter Parker, who was in line to be a possible Peter Parker Spider-Man. Thought he was great, yeah. I mean, goddamn, he was trying so hard to get the attention of Kamala Khan, chat. You know, hopefully he gets her attention in the next season. And I like the actress. You know, we're going to see this character appear again in the Marvels movie, which is coming out sometime in Phase 5. But yeah, I feel like family stuff worked great. I like the character. It's just that a lot of the superhero antics, a lot of the villain stuff, very weak, didn't make a lot of sense, or was just incredibly forgettable, chat, in my opinion. But, you know, really liked her. Want to see more of the family. I thought they did a good job. Moving on from that, chat, this might be a little controversial. But at number 7, I have Marvel's Moon Knight. And Moon Knight was one I was really looking forward to, chat. I mean, one, because we're dealing with a superhero who suffers from, you know, this multiple personality, I guess, dissociative personality disorder. And you have Oscar Isaac playing this character, which I was very excited for Oscar Isaac. I feel like he does a great job. I think the supporting cast does a great job. I think the villain is very good, with Ethan Hawke playing the villain in this series. I love just the whole Egypt. I love the setting. I love that we're in Egypt. I think that was really cool. We get a whole episode about mummies and like Egyptian mythology mixed with the MCU. Like, all that was great. My problem is, by the end, like how we got to the end, left me very, very confused. That last episode, I think this is a common criticism of a lot of the series on Disney Plus, a lot of the Marvel shows on Disney Plus, is that they rush the ending. And I felt like, because this needed more episodes. This is a 6-episode series. This felt like it needed 8, maybe even 10. They rushed that episode where by the time we got to that final one, I was like, wait, what the fuck even happened? And the fact that they say like this is a one-off, I'm like, I hope it's not a one-off, because I feel like this needs more material to expand upon, like explain as to what happened with the Moon Knight character of Mark Spector and Steven and everyone else and the character of Jake Lockley. It's like, wait a minute, what are you doing? That ending was really frustrating to me, and it really stuck in my craw, and I held it against the show. I really did, because I was really liking it. I was like I thought episode 4, episode 5, Those are like, oh, those are the highlights. Those are the best episodes, chat. They brought the action. They brought the emotion. I just like the change of setting and the themes. And I was like, ooh, and the mix of genres. Like, okay, here we go. And the series also had some weakness. Like, listen, I think all these, this point, especially Miss Marvel, there was some very mixed CGI, no doubt. And this one had that. But I thought the writing was pretty strong. But that last episode, I'm telling you, man, that last one was really frustrating for me. And I wanted to love this show, and I did love it. I would like to see this continue on. I hope they continue it on, chat. But yeah, very sloppy ending. Very sloppy ending to what I thought was, for the most part, like a really solid MCU show. And then we get to probably the most controversial one, chat. And that is Marvel's She-Hulk. Marvel's She-Hulk, which everyone says this is the one show that destroyed the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't think it did that. I feel like this is a sitcom. It's a show that is very similar to something like Boston Legal or Night Court. It just happens to also have superheroes, chat. I feel like this was a very accurate adaptation of the She-Hulk comics, which I really enjoy. I really like Jennifer Walters. The things that were surprised me, one, I think Tatiana Maslany did a great job in this series. I like that they really led into the sexual confidence of the character, which was a huge part of She-Hulk show. I always thought they would never do that. I thought they would just rip that out, and like, no, they leaned in. I thought that was really cool. You know, I feel like when it comes down to She-Hulk, and I understand this, it's not the whole, like, you know, I mean, the whole thing about, like, she hates men, which I think is so fucking stupid. It's like you have such a lack of confidence in your own gender or sexuality that you feel like, oh, she's hating on us. Like, get over yourself. But I do feel like, you know, comedy is very subjective. And if you're not with the comedy of this show, you're probably not going to like this series. And I get that. I feel like if you don't find this funny, it's going to be a huge turnoff to you. And I respect that. You know, I mean, what makes me laugh might not make you laugh. And what makes me not laugh might make you laugh. And so I feel like I understand that. But I like this for the most part. You know, I thought it was fun. I thought it was very tongue-in-cheek. I thought it was a good time. Yeah, not every single joke made me laugh. Some of the CGI was indeed iffy to me, chat. But, you know, for the most part, I enjoyed it. I thought it was kind of irreverent. And I thought it worked more than it didn't, chat. So I liked Marvel She-Hulk. I hope this series continues on. I hope they can kind of fine-tune a lot of that comedy. But for the most part, I thought it was good. That was a good show. I thought it was a great adaptation. I like how they used Daredevil. I think the best episode in the series was the one in which they brought in Matt Murdock, chat, and Charlie Cox from Netflix's Daredevil. He did a great job. The chemistry between him and Tatiana Maslany was fantastic. The fact that they were fucking was hot. I'm gonna smash Daredevil. I was like, she smashes villains and she smashes Matt Murdock. And I was like, hell yeah, girl, you go and do it. Do it. Those people are so hot. Absolutely. So I like Marvel She-Hulk. And then we're getting to the top 5. Check in the top 5. And number 5, I have, you know, Marvel's Hawkeye. You know, Hawkeye has kind of always been the character that has been, I think, the forgotten member of the Avengers. And I feel like, you know, it's not Jeremy Renner's fault. I feel like since the original Avengers film, the way in which one of my biggest complaints of the first Avengers movie, and I have a couple complaints. I like that movie a lot. I think it's very good. I don't love that film like probably like a lot of other people do. But the one aspect of that movie I really dislike to this day is how they treated Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye, where for 2/3 of that movie, he is literally a zombie. That's it. That's all he is. And then he finally gets to do something in the third act. And they've tried to give him more to do, like in Avengers Age of Ultron, and they do. But here, I feel like for the first time, now he's on his own. Now he's doing stuff. You know, he's dealing with the ramifications, the health. I mean, even the ramifications to his health, chat. Being a superhero, being an Avenger, he's going deaf. I like that, but also eventually passing the mantle to another Archer, chat. In Kate Bishop, played by Haley Steinfeld. Thank you. Thank you, Brain. Haley Steinfeld. And I love their dynamic. I love their chemistry. I love that Kate Bishop, Haley Steinfeld's version of Kate Bishop. She's a dork. She's a goof. Like, that's the thing about, like, I really love it, because people are like, I hate Kate Bishop. It's like, I don't. She's a goof. she's she fucks up, she messes up, she tries to do better. I really like that about her. It made her very, very charming. She's competent, but she's still learning, and she's learning from, the person that inspired her, which was Hawkeye. I liked how they incorporate other characters in the MCU, including, Florence Pugh's Black Widow. And obviously, spoilers at this point, if you haven't seen the show, you should have, Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin. And Echo, the character of Echo, I thought was a standout in this series. I thought this was pretty good. It was nice little. It reminded me very much of something like Die Hard, or it's the MCU's like Die Hard or Lethal Weapon. This action movie that takes place around Christmas, and I thought it worked out really well. That was fun, and it gave us the fucking Avengers Captain Rogers musical. I can do this all day, and I thought that was cool. I enjoyed it. I didn't mind this. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to continue off another series, but I want to see Kate Bishop again. I want to see that relationship continue on with her and Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye. I'm glad they gave him something actually to do. His own standalone show. I thought it worked. They grounded him a lot. I thought this was a fun series. I really liked it. And then we get to the ones that I really enjoy. Some of them may have still has some flaws, but at number 4, I have Falcon and the Winter Soldier, chat, which kind of gave me that socio-political intrigue, that spycraft type of thing that the Captain America the Winter Soldier gave us with the MCU. Right now we have seen the passing of Steve Rogers. At this point, they've said that. They constantly say that he died or that he's no longer around, but whatever, we'll see. But I love the relationship between Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes. I think both of them, the chemistry they have, I think is great. I love how they bring back Daniel Bruhl as Baron Zemo. I thought that's really cool. I love the inclusion of Wyatt Russell as Jonathan Walker, U.S. agent, who will later become U.S. agent. I thought that was all great. I love that they brought back, Sharon Carter, who is a very much an incredibly changed character in the show. She's been hard and she's bitter. She really got the short end of the stick, chat. If I have any criticism of this series, it was I guess it's also the problem of the pandemic, because they had more material, and they had more material for the villains of the show, which was the Flag Smashers. And one of the big plot points in the series is that they were releasing biological weapons, plagues around the world, and they stripped all of that out because of the COVID-19 pandemic, chat, and that's a shame. I wish they still include that material. I know we're going through. Yes, I understand why Disney said we're going through a major pandemic which the world has not seen since probably the Spanish flu since the 1910s, and I'm like, all right, I get it, but I really wish they would have included that to add to the Flag Smasher, chat, because I did feel like they were lacking the series. And Zemo gave us the Zemo jerk, chat, which has been a huge part of my content. I love seeing Baron Zemo, also in the purple mask and stuff. That was great. We're going to continue to see that character later on in the MCU, chat, most likely in Thunderbolts. So, I really like this show, and we saw also the growth of Sam Wilson inheriting the responsibility of eventually becoming a Captain America, and I love what they did with the past stuff of the Isaiah Washington, including Isaiah Washington in this series, Shed, who was a Captain America, and how he was spurned and forgotten and punished by the U.S. government for being a super soldier. Isaiah Washington. Isaiah Bradley. Thank you. My mistake. Isaiah Bradley. That was great. That was so goddamn good in the series, Shad. I love that. Was one of my favorite aspects of this series. A lot of people forget about those certain scenes and those certain moments in this show. I thought that did a great job. I think the villains were weak. There's no doubt about that. It had those issues, but stuff like the Isaiah Bradley content that was really good to me. And then we move on to the top 3, chat. After Falcon Winter Soldier, we have at number 3, WandaVision, which I feel like is kind of that was the show. I could be wrong, but to me, this was the show that started the Disney Plus Marvel shows. It was with the introduction, I feel like, for a lot of people. And, it had the whole, gimmick. It was it's going to be covering all the various kind of like American sitcoms from like the 1950s and the 60s, 70s, 80s, and etc. all the way until, the future, till modern day. And like that was very much the gimmick. But then what I love about this series so much is that it was dealing with Wanda Maximoff's unhealthy grief and coping over the death of the Vision chat. And first of all, it was great to get the Vision back in here. Like, really, we get to see a lot more of that relationship. Because that was one of if I have any criticisms, really, of, Phase 2 and Phase 3, even Captain America, which I love Captain Civil War, it's one of my favorite Marvel movies. It's like probably my top 5. I would have liked maybe there's so much going on in that movie. But I love the chemistry between Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen. That movie is like, and they get that one small scene, a couple other things, like, oh, this is so good. I want to see more of this. I wish they got like a WandaVision and Vision movie. Maybe someday down the road they will. But they really focused on the relationship in this series. And I thought that was great, and all the turmoil and how the dynamic was changing, shifting, and everything with, just Wanda Maximoff's abuse of this town, and how she, is also being manipulated at the same time by Catherine Hahn's Agatha, which I don't understand. There's like this weird thing. Everyone's like, Agatha sucks. I'm like, really? I really like Catherine Hahn as Agatha Harkness. I thought she did a great job. It was Agatha all along. I thought that was really cool. There's this whole thing out there. Everyone's like, she's the worst MCU villain. I'm like, I vehemently disagree. I thought she was amazing. I'm actually looking forward to her show. I want to give that show a shot. I thought this was great. Again, my only big criticism is like maybe a little rush towards the end, but overall, like the themes it was dealing with, the incredible acting, and the chemistry between Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany on full display. I thought that was great. I thought they used the gimmick pretty well. I mean, maybe I could concede that it took a little while to get past the gimmick into like kind of like the mystery of the show. It's like, okay, I could see that. I'm like, I think that's fair. And people just like, I just do not like this 1950s, 1960s, 70s show. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But I think once we get into that, when we get into like the middle of the show, I was like, okay, this is pretty goddamn good. And I admit the other thing that pissed a lot of people off was, Evan Peters coming in as Quicksilver, and people were thinking like, oh, she's fucking like manipulating reality and like took the Quicksilver from the X-Men universe. And I'm like, yes, in hindsight, they probably should have done that. That would have been much more fun and interesting, especially because we're delving into the multiverse now. I mean, the multiverse has been, at least at this point, kind of it's been tapped into at this point with things like Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, and we're going to continue on. It's called the Multiverse Saga, so we're going to get more of that, in the future, especially with something like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which is starting Phase 5. And so I was like, yeah, they probably shouldn't have done that. And the whole Ralph Boner. I mean, I wasn't mad at it. I was like, I still thought it was fun, but yeah, they probably should have done that instead. I think people would have been more satisfied than not, But yeah, I thought this was great in terms of the acting, in terms of the themes that the show was exploring. I thought it did a great job. And then we get to like, and I'll admit, Chad, I'm eating a big slice of humble pie, and that is my number 2, and that is Werewolf by Night. Now, as you guys know, I was talking a lot of shit about this show. I was saying that I don't know if this is what I want from Marvel in terms of their horror content. It looks really campy. It looks like a parody of horror stuff. And I was like, I don't like what I'm seeing. But I watched the chat, and what I realized watching it, I feel like a lot of people realize, and I think it speaks true. This is not a parody of Universal monster movies. This is a love letter to 1930s, 40s, and 50s horror, chat. This is what this is, and it explores a corner of the MCU that we've barely tapped into, and it's grounded thanks to the characters of like played by Gail Garcia Bernal, who plays the Werewolf by Night, and introduction of other characters like Elsa Bloodstone and the Man Thing, Chad, or Ted as he's known by some people, but also the Society of Monster Hunters, and instead of this kind of black and white aesthetic, chat. Yeah, and it's a about 45, 50-minute TV special, and it brought this humanity that I didn't expect to have in it. It had its serious moments, its wholesome moments, and it had its scares. It was violent. It has its comedy too. It's this nice blending of a variety of tones and genres. And in terms of like one of the first Marvel properties, maybe outside of Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, as Six's toe into horror, I was like, this is pretty good. This is good. And also the directing debut of Michael Giacchino. I thought he did a very good job. I mean, a couple flaws. I feel like some of the CG, not all the CG, but there was a couple CG. I was like, it looked a little fake. But outside of that, it was very good. There's some great action choreography, especially in the last third with the werewolf and the man thing. I thought that was awesome, Chad. I mean, beware the burning touch of the man thing, Chad, indeed. I like this. I was shocked and surprised how much I enjoyed this. I was like, wow. This kind of blew me away. And it really made me want to see more of like, this I feel like is good. The whole idea of TV specials, if Marvel feels like, you know what, instead of doing these multi-episode shows, maybe it might be best just to introduce a lot of characters via these kind of TV specials and see how they do. And maybe down the line, give them more of a long-form content or movies in the future, chat. Like, this kind of said, because we know, yes, one of the specials that we're getting, which I can't review at this point, I can't include here, it'll be 11, because what is truly marking the end of Marvel Phase 4 is not Black Panther Wakanda Forever in terms of theatrical content it is, but in terms of just content in general, it's the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, which is obviously going to be sci-fi comedic, but mirroring tone of the Guardians, which I'm looking forward to. I can't wait. But I'm interested to see if this maybe causes Marvel to say, like, okay, instead of making like a big risk doing a whole TV show or doing a movie, like, what if we do like a Ghost Rider? You know, like a Ghost Rider, neo-noir, modern-day Western TV special. You know, I mean, Nova's one of the ones they've already said they're going to be doing in the future yet. So I'm like, that's pretty cool. I like that. And I'm glad this is successful. I hope those are just as good as this, and I hope to see more of these. I want to see the return of Jack Russell and the return of Man-Thing, Elsa Bloodstone. You know, I want to see them interacting with the other Marvel characters and the Avengers and Blade. You know, I hope maybe they'll take a few notes from this show and maybe incorporate in the Blade. We'll see. But I was shocked, and I was happy. I was very happy that my misgivings were proven incorrect. I was happy to be wrong, happy to eat that slice of humble pie while watching a really good TV special. But Chad, at this point, you already know what this is at number one. And I feel like, yeah, this is the best one. I feel like this is one that was the most consistent. I mean, I thought the acting was great, the character, what they introduced, what it sets up in the future. We know we're getting more. I mean, that's Loki. That's season 1 of Loki, Chad. Obviously, we're dealing with not the Loki, you know, from the proper MCU. This is a variant of Loki, which we see at Avengers Endgame, who messes up the timeline and gets involved, the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, trying to, you know, they recruit him as an agent, trying to fix the various variant timelines within the Marvel, I guess, multiverse at this point. But, you know, he uncovers a conspiracy with a female version of himself, Lady Loki. Oh, God, what was her name, Chad? Sylvie? I think her name was Sylvie. And, you know, and Loki, I mean, we really get into Loki. I mean, listen, he's been a villain, anti-hero. Sylvia, thank you. A hero at this point. Like, this man is changed. This man has fucking murdered people, okay? But the thing about him is he's so goddamn likable and so goddamn charming, Chad. I mean, that's to tell you, like, despite this man being a goddamn murderer, you know, I mean, doing horrible things, Chad, we just love him. We love Loki. I can't help it. He's so great to watch. You know, Tom Hiddleston does such a great job playing this character from phase 1, Chad. I can't wait to see him more. Can't wait to see him continue on in the various other movies and in more seasons of this show. It also gives us our first look at Kane the Conqueror, or at least a variant of Kane. There's a lot here. There's a lot of good stuff in the show. I mean, Owen Wilson, his whole character in the MCU, like his chemistry of Tom Wilson, there's just so much great stuff in this show. Like, I don't really have any complaints about it. I think the CGI looks very good here. The practical effects look very good here. The action is great. Like, I don't really have any complaints about the show. I think it's funny. At the same time, it deals with the serious material very well. Yeah, I feel like to me this is the oh wow indeed, this is the best one. I don't think anything really hits this in terms of quality. Maybe you make an argument for Werewolf by Night. Maybe you can make an argument for WandaVision. I think WandaVision has a couple more problems. But yeah, this is my number one. This is the best of the Phase 4 shows. That's the thing about all these Phase 4 TV shows. Like, I don't hate any of these. I know there are a number of people out there that feel like some of this content is the worst and it just should be damned. I'm like, I don't really feel that way. Flawed, certainly. There's like a number of problems, but I don't hate any of these. But with this one in particular, I thought this was one of the best. This is what all the Marvel TV shows should strive to be. Chap. So, but yeah, Loki season 1, my number 1. Just to reiterate, I'm gonna go from worst quote unquote to best. And number 10, I have I Am Groot. Number 9, Marvel's What If. Number 8, Miss Marvel. Number 7, Moon Knight. Number 6, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. Number 5, Hawkeye. Number 4, The Falcon, Winter Soldier. Number 3, WandaVision. Number 2, Werewolf by Night, the TV special. Number 1, Loki. But that's just how I feel, chat. I know there's a lot of people out there who have many differing opinions on the MCU and the various phases and Phase 4 and certainly the Phase 4 TV shows. What about you guys out there? How would you rank Marvel's Phase 4 TV shows, Shad, of the 10 that we currently have? I know Guardians of the Galaxy is coming out soon. I'll be doing maybe a bit of a retcon. Once that comes out, when I do my review, I'll let you know where I would place it among the 10 here. It'll be 11 in total there. But I'm very curious about you guys. What do you guys think? What do you guys feel would be your personal ranking?